I don't know if we have to sing Happy Birthday Stella Maris, because today is the day that 102 years ago Stella Maris was founded, so we are really grateful, and tonight we will celebrate the Mass. Bishop Alex will be the main celebrant at the Mass in St. Andrew Cathedral. And I would like to inform you that Father Tronch was brought to the hospital last night because he fell. They give him some stitches, but he's okay, he's fine, and he's resting in his room now. So all is well, what is ended well. Now we are going to start, and Maria from Denmark will be the moderator, and I give order to be very strict with the people that they talk. If you have to talk for 10 minutes, she will let you talk for 10 minutes and after stop, because I think what is important also to have some question and answer, to have some debate among us, because that is more enriching than what maybe is shared by the people, or what the people they share, they can start some discussion and other things. And so have a nice day. Enjoy the second day of the Congress.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see all of you. Yesterday at the dinner, when Father Bruno announced that we would meet at 8, I thought, okay, they're not going to show up at 8. But it is really nice to see all of you. And also, thank you very much for the opportunity for me to be your moderator today. So, my name is Maria Hammershøi. I'm the Vice President of Justice and Peace Europe, which is a network of 32 national justice and peace commissions mandated by their bishops' conferences to speak out against poverty and for human rights and for peace and reconciliation, development, and the care of creation. Also, I am the Secretary General of Caritas Denmark. So yesterday we talked about bridges, we talked about doors, we talked, of course, about the sea. And so for all of you, geography matters. And when my colleague David talked about Denmark and the Faroe Islands and so on, I thought, I'm not sure everyone around the world actually knows where this is. So I thought I just wanted to tell you where I come from. So I live in Copenhagen. This is my diocese. It covers the far north, basically. It's a country of 407 islands and a peninsula which connects us to mainland Europe. So the sea is an integral part of my life, and crossing bridges and going by boat is daily life there. My country is an ancient seafaring nation, and back to the Viking days, the seas have been central to the life of my family and my nation. My father was a seafarer. So, but when I was presented here in the program as Secretary General of Caritas Denmark and my position at Justice and Peace Europe, Father Bruno or Martin forgot the most important thing, which is I'm a volunteer with Stella Maris. And this brings me so much joy, so thank you. So this morning we start with our colleagues from the Ukraine and the Ukrainian diaspora and the neighboring countries. And can you show, last time I saw Father Alex and Rustic, who I'll introduce you to in a second, was happier days in Copenhagen 3 years ago when we celebrated Mass at Sea, and it was such a joyful event, and it's just so nice to see you again. So before we start this session, I just thought to here in Europe, we're extremely focused on the war in Ukraine. But I do know many of you from other parts of the world have other wars. And as it is Today is the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, and of course Stella Maris' birthday. I thought maybe, if you don't mind, maybe you could just stand for a second and we could say the peace prayer of St. Francis of Assisi together. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. Okay, thank you very much. So, the first, I'm going to introduce our two Ukrainian colleagues together. So, Father Alex was born in do you want to come here? Was born in 1974. He graduated from the seminary in 1997, and he's been a priest since 1998 in Odessa. Yes?
Today is also the 24th anniversary of his ordination.
Congratulations! Thank you. And in 1999, he started working with the seafarers. So the other guest who's hopefully with us online is Rostik, who was also born in Odessa in Ukraine. And he graduated from Odessa National University in 1997 and started as a volunteer in Stella Maris, but he's now chaplain assistant and manager of the Odessa Stella Maris Center. So do you want to...
Yeah, maybe start video.
Hi everyone. Greetings from unsafe Odessa, Ukraine. Unfortunately, due to martial law, I cannot join you at the Congress. In this uncertain time of the war in our country, Stella Maris Ukraine continue ministry to seafarers, their families, and all Ukrainians.
Not sound.
Now they evacuated to Lviv. We provided assistance.
I don't know why. Rostik explained, we provide assistance to evacuation for families of Ukrainian seafarers, especially first months of our war.
Cadets from Nigeria received humanitarian aid. They are students of Maritime University in Kherson. Now they evacuated to Lviv.
Without, yeah. In start of war, in our ports and Anchorage, near our ports, we have more than 100 ships blocked, and we support for seafarers in ports and Anchorage. And it's very dangerous situation, very hard situation we had with some Russian crew in Ukrainian port, and border control asked me to visit these ships and thought with Russian crew for evacuated because very afraid. That's is one. I don't know. We provide applications.
So far, 300 seafarers and their families have received grants for more than 150,000 US dollars.
Again, every year from 2014, we organized summer camps for Ukrainian children from Crimea and for our seafarers children. Now it's impossible, and we provide this in Romania for Ukrainian children, Navy children, seafarers children, and women's. Yeah. Okay. I need to explain the because without sound. Now we have a hard situation in Ukraine, but it's hardest situation been in first 2 months, because in Ukrainian ports we have maybe 100, more than 100 ships are blocked, and some crews we support materially, food, some medicine. For some we support to evacuate it. Now, not every day, but time to time we have missiles attack to Odessa port. It's a very strange situation. If you know, after this we agree with United Nations, our ports have some activities, but under bombing. It's very strange. Rostik, maybe you some talk because with your video without sound.
I don't know. Hi everyone, I cannot see you, but I think I'm right that you are not far from computer, so you can hear me. Just to check, do you hear me? Yes. Oh, wow. So I don't know why it happened, but briefly you'd like to hear about presentation. Am I right? Yes. No. So just tell me, where did you stop?
Only time to time we hear you.
Pardon, I cannot understand properly, not very clear sound.
Explain again. All.
Okay, I will explain you in few words how things is going on. As Father Alex said, we are trying to respond to the problems which appear due to the war in Ukraine. So at the beginning, we assisted to wives of and children of seafarers to be evacuated to the border of Ukraine, because at the beginning a lot of citizens of Ukraine tried to be evacuated. So it was really big problem to find transport and ways how to live, especially territories very close to the Russian army. So later on, we had humanitarian aid to retired seafarers, engineers, and people of the sea, and all the Ukrainians. As probably you can see in the presentation, there is some pictures which had been done during humanitarian aid to Ukrainians. Unfortunately, we haven't so many pictures because of the martial law. Pictures is not allowed to do everywhere. So situation is changed to show some photos to do pictures. Also, Father Alex created being in Malta, and he organized spiritual and practical support to Ukrainian refugees in Malta for more than 250 persons. So we can say that Ukrainian community was created there. Also, I can say that at the beginning of the war, we also been in touch with some masters on board ships, and we've been ready to help them anytime. They've been really very afraid, especially in Nikolaev port, because they can hear and they can see attacks, they can see and hear explosions from the bridge. So they really been afraid, and it was a problem for their evacuation, and it was also a situation when several Russians been on board, and they afraid to be evacuated because of the war. Right now, Stella Maris Ukraine process and submit application for financial assistance. From the beginning, it was the Ukrainian Crisis Support Fund by ICE1, but their funds finished, if I may say. And now, thanks to Stella Maris International, that through the Stella Maris Centenary Emergency Fund, we continue financial assistance to Ukrainian seafarers and their families. So up to this moment, it's already 300 seafarers and their families received financial support for more than 150,000 US dollars. And situation is not very clear due to the martial law, and for Ukrainian seafarers still not possible to leave Ukraine to pass the border to join the ship, because the point in law is not fixed very clear, and seafarers still should stay in Ukraine, and some of them more than 1 year without jobs. So situation is really hard for surviving and support families. And now we are working on mental project. The name is Stella Maris Seafarers Support Service. So hopefully in nearest future it will be started. So the main project is distant help to seafarers by consultation of psychologists. So through the platform, seafarers can be connected to specialists, and they can get some consultation and support during this time, because all of us are impacted by the war, and psychologically and mentally and spiritually we need to be supported. So this is briefly how things is going on in Odessa, Ukraine, and I'd like again and again say thank you and give our appreciation and deep gratitude for your prayers and support to Stella Maris family. We are strong enough to continue our ministry because of your support. Thank you really very, very much. Thank you.
In a few words, the new world in which we live after February 24 points to new challenges to our ministry. All Ukrainian seafarers and their families are victims of the war. Some psychologically, some materially, but all psychologically and spiritually. Stella Maris Ukraine is trying to respond to these challenges. You heard from Rostik about the psychological help we will provide shortly and plan to strengthen it. But more importantly, we try to be representatives of a loving Christ, loving God. Our main task is that in the world of the hatred that war gives rise to, we try to show that there is another side, the face of loving God. Catholic Church, in particularly the Greek Catholic, Eastern Catholic Church, is in the minority, is the southern and eastern regions. We are majority of where the majority of Ukrainian Sephardists come from. The new condition are a great opportunity for a new evangelization through manifestation of love that show the face of a loving God. Thank you, and a few words for ending. During this time, my greatest feeling, it's we huge family. A lot of thanks for your support us. A lot of thanks for your messages, for your mailing, especially in hardest time of start of our war. Thank you very much. Rostik the best.
Thank you very much, Rustic and Father Alex. I'm sure you all have a lot of questions now. I know I do, and does. But I thought we'll just take a few more speakers, and then we'll have the questions. And if not all questions are answered, we may have a little more time for this at the end of the day. And of course, Father Alex is around. But Father Bruno told me to be strict on time, so we need to move on. So the next speaker is Father Edward from Poland, who's going to talk to us about his work in receiving the Ukrainians who fled their country. Father, yesterday there was a father who had been working for Stella Maris for 38 years. And when I was reading through Father Edward's CV, I think he's almost there as well. It's a lifetime of service to Stella Maris and to the church. And without further ado, I'm going to welcome you on the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria and all. Good morning, everybody. Dzień dobry. My voice is your voice, because we are in solidarity together. I receive a lot of voices and messages and witnesses solidarity from all over the world. So my voice will be your voice. And I have privilege today to say something about the seamen families and seafarers. Yesterday, during the panel list, Giuseppe Mazzotta said very important words. Stella Maris is like church who's standing under the cross, like Mary standing under the cross, but standing under the cross was also Saint John. Saint John took Mary to help her to be not alone. So, when we talk about the situation in Ukraine, so Stella Maris took seafarers and their families from cross to help them, to show them it is upright way to help in social, in human and spiritual needs. So the title is Stella Maris alongside the seafarers, that is really matters. Yes, it is really matters, Stella Maris, every day. Even if no war, it's important. We really need seafarers on boards. It is really our matters when we visit them. So let us try. It is the next slide. And where did they come from? To our center. They come from Kyiv, from Mariupol, Zaporozhia, Odessa, Kherson, and also it is very outside the Kharkov. Is place is at Kharkov. It is, I see, it is Bakalia. It is was a very difficult region. It is to survive for people there. Now it is liberation. Thanks to God, it is Ukrainian army. The next slide. Yeah. I haven't taken a picture. It is not everyone is in the picture because they arrive in different time to the center. For example, I haven't taken the picture of Olga's husband. It is on the top, the wife of the captain, who somebody in Great Britain in the port met the captain, and when they join, it is relationship. It is the families. So, but it is the medical doctor. Also is the man who is with wife and two children. He is the first officers, and other ones is the lady, the dame is their husband. Is also stay in the center. So it is from Odessa. Was more people and stay in our center. The next slide, when we see, it is the people from Mariupol. Is on the top is the couple, Danilo. He came first to the center, and after then joined him the wife. Was very difficult to escape from Mariupol because it was really tough time. So he expected about 2 weeks and used a lot of funds to encourage her to escape, but it was not easy. So one then decided. She took the can of gasoline and went to the road when a car stopped. And she moved to Berdyansk, from Berdyansk to Zaporozhia, from Zaporozhia to Lviv, and to Poland. So his other family is from Mariupol. They work on the same ships. They stay in Kashubi till now. Yes, the next one also, it is 3 seafarers, and it is one of have 2 of them on the top. One, he came with families. I haven't picture, but all of them from Mariupol. So the next is from Zaporozhia. It is they work in the river port. So they stay. One family stay in Poland, and other ones back to Zaporozhia. So next family is from Kyiv, and with a disabled, it is child. I will mention about the later on. Next slide. So we have it is from Bakalia family, not all of them, but it is one person. But anyway, all of them passed 1,500 kilometers. They covered this distance. But one of them, blind lady, she covered this distance as blind person, 1,500 500 kilometers. Incredible. And after then join her husband. And we see also small child. When they escape, the child had 4 months only. So, but they spent more times in the shelters. So they came and stay in Kashubi. After 5 months, she started to eat everything like adults. Potatoes, meals, without milk. Incredible. It is, everybody was astonished. It is so. And yes, so it is one back to one lady reached the house soon after the liberty. It is one lady to Bakalia. The next slide is from Kherson. Yes, a lady, man, sorry. Yes, it is the seafarers he back at sea, and from Suma. Next slide. Yes, who came to Stella Maris? Seafarers from the ship who decided to stay on shore to spend this time with their families, seafarers' families who ran away from the war zones, and others as well. They did arrive. It is some of you been in this place during the Congress, and also it is Bruno, and been several times, and Martin as well visited. It is this center, and many of you. It is the next slide. It is they spent time in Stella Maris Recreation Center in next slide in Kashubi. Yes. And in the center, yes, next slide, because we are, yeah, a special place, a healing place, peace, silent forest, lakes. So they back to life really in this place. It is. So it is like Latin, you know, the medicus, curat natura sanat, you know, it is the nature is healing, you know. And what we offer them, it is also important. We offer them, next slide, yes, accommodation, of course. Next slide. We offered them some social goods, clothes for children and adults and toys, because they came without nothing sometimes. Only took bottles of waters with themselves, so we provide them everything. Next one. So was important. Next one. It is a communication. Everybody receives SIM cards without limit, and they connected with the families without limit. And also the children and took lesson online in conference room. Other ones we sent to the school. Some teachers, Ukrainian teacher, been there. So next, meals every day. Yes, everyday meals. Next one, and we create together. It's like one. Families. So, but it is how important was, next one, was a prayer for peace. You know, following Holy Father's Francis appeal from prayers for peace in the Ukraine, we gather in the conference room with the children, one of them holding an icon of Our Lady of Perpetual Help, other candles, many of them crying, yes, because it was so tough time for them. Next one, and I would like to say a few words of gratitude to Stella Maris, to Stella Maris, but not in Gdynia, but to Stella Maris in the world. But this one is one of gratitude because they put the thoughts in the chronic. But you can see we came with a family of 8 people, me, my mother, sister. Maybe you see this, yes? Yes, you try to reflect, yes. And we spent 17 days under fire. At that time, the nearest villages around us were destroyed. A lot of civilians died. Last 3 days we spent in the basement without electricity, food, and possibility to contact by phone because air bombs were dropped on our town. From 4 to 6 bombs fell on us daily. Our friends who lived next to us were killed. We prayed in this basement just to save our lives. The sound of the flames was unbearable. On March 13, 2022, the mayor of the city organized a green corridor. Thanks to him, we escaped from hell. We were driving 9 people and dog, a cat in one car, one on the top of other, just to live alive. The road to Ivano-Frankivsk took 3 days. Volunteers helped us with accommodation in Poltava. On the fourth day, we reached the border by bus. When we crossed the border to Poland, foot, and went to go to Gdańsk, etc., etc., and the Stella Maris giving us a roof over our heads. A big thanks you from our whole family. We wish you much health and peace. You will always remain in our hearts. God, good is never forget. Yes, next one. So it is right. Yeah, okay. Next we is other to is Thanksgiving. It is for international Stella Maris. They explain next one. Yes, next one. Yeah, I would like to say it is especially thanks to Father Bruno, to the Castelli, yes, for human promoting, and who contacted with the Pope, and Father Bruno, he is keeping contact with me regularly, and we exchange a lot of mails, and he encouraging people from the moral, human, and financial support. I would like to express Father Bruno so much, so it is like brother, really, he assisting me, and with the Castelli, and with sisters, and with the president, and we help to help these people in reality. So it is my grateful, and also it is help is never ends. And okay, next slide, because we not time to talk more. Yes, but you see, it is this family, and we stay in Stella Maris, and possibility to treat a sick spine of a girl from Kiev. She is 11 years old. She doesn't walk. We want to help her in curing her spine. We see what will be possible or no. So next one. Love and welcome are the first and most effective form of evangelization. It is the words of John Paul II. Let us try to be in solidarity, in love and welcome, and pray. Yes, because it's very important, but then it's important what will be the next. Not enough provide the roof, bread, but the purpose of our life. It is without purpose, it does mean it is our value is not so much important. So the next steps to keep contact, solidarity, show them appropriate way. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Edward, for sharing these stories and the faces of the people you serve. It was deeply moving, and I think yesterday in the message from the Pope, he said that the real heroes of our time are the ones who give up themselves to serve others, and you are definitely one of them. So I hated to have to rush this, but we need to move on. And we're now going to talk a little bit about the Ukrainian diaspora. Our next speaker is Bishop Kenneth Novakovsky. He's the Bishop of the Holy Family of London and is responsible of the pastoral care of Ukrainian, Belarusian, Slovakian, and Eastern Catholics in Great Britain, as well as an apostolic visitator to Ukrainian Catholics resident in Ireland and Northern Ireland. Bishop Kenny's family immigrated to Canada from Ukraine in the 1890s, and he grew up on a farm in the Prairie province of Saskatchewan. He studied advertising and public relations after completing high school, and he worked for a brief time in the profession before entering studies and formation for ordained ministry. He lived and worked in the Ukraine from 1991 to 2001, assisting the re-establishment of the administrative structures of the church in Ukraine, and after it began to emerge from its enforced clandestine existence in 1946. He was also one of the founders of Caritas Ukraine and its first president. So to cut this short as well, Bishop Kenneth is a person who serves the poor, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank, of course, Rostik, Father Alexander, and Father Edward for their wonderful presentations. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Ukraine, the Ukrainians in the diaspora, and what we're doing during this time of horrific war. Thanks to Father Edward, he had a map of Ukraine, and so those of you who are not maybe too familiar with Ukraine could see it. You can see how many neighbors Ukraine has. Russia, Belarus, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Moldavia, and of course the Black Sea. It's the largest country territory-wise in Europe, and up until the invasion on the 24th of February, it had a population of around 43 million people. Never in the history of humankind has there been such a mass exodus in such a short period of time as there was from Ukraine. Within a period of about 2.5 months, over 8 million people fled Ukraine, and more than that, fled their homes, which had been under attack. Most of those people sought refuge and still are in Poland. In fact, I was told recently that 1 in 5 people living in Warsaw, the capital, are of Ukrainian ancestry. The majority of those who have fled are young women with children, and their husbands, as we've heard, have had to remain behind to defend their country. Last week I was in Ukraine for about a week, and I visited some of the places that had been recently liberated from the occupiers, and was able to spend time talking with the people who were victims, saw their bombed out homes. And I have to say that even though the blood from the streets has been washed away by the tears from heaven over the last few months, the scars remain. I'd like to just share 3 small anecdotal examples to help you understand what has happened there. You're all with Stella Maris or in pastoral service, and so most of you have attended and gone to some kind of children's school or daycare center, and you know the story, you know the routine. You arrive, children meet you, they sing a song, you say how nice it is to see you, you thank the people who are involved in that. Maybe the children present you with a little picture or something they've made, and then there's the group photo, perhaps outside of their building. So I recently went to one of those daycare shelters in Ukraine that was set up to assist parents, or mothers especially, who had escaped into Western Ukraine, or to safe parts, so that they could have a couple hours of relief while their children felt normal in play. So at the end, like we do, we went into the garden where the children normally play, and usually at that time a little child would grab your arm, probably your hand, and say, "Come and look at our swing, come and look at our slide." Well, that happened to me, except the little boy, who was about 8 years old, grabbed my hand and said, "Bishop, come and look at our bomb shelter." That's going to be in his mind and the minds of those children, and it's going to affect them generationally. The wounds of trauma. Many of you come from countries that have also, and are perhaps even now, experiencing similar type of trauma. The second anecdotal incident that I'd like to relate to you is when I went to the city a week ago this Sunday in Irpin, which was one of the cities that was liberated about 4 months ago, and atrocities beyond imagination occurred. The rape of little children, of women, of men, destruction of homes, just a horrific event. And I went into the city, and I was arriving, and I saw all of the bombed buildings, and there was I walked around in this area, and there was a sign that clearly was advertising a hairdressing salon, and the sign had not been destroyed, although the building where the hairdressing salon was, and it said "positive images." It was so ironic, positive images. And then from there I left, and I went to our church that we have there, and unlike today, it was a beautiful, beautiful, sunny, bright day. And I arrived, and the community knew that I was coming, and they wanted to greet me, and it seemed like a normal thing when a bishop comes and they greet you, etc., etc. We had this liturgy. It was absolutely beautiful. Afterwards, I had an opportunity to talk and listen to the people, to their sorrows, to what they had lived through. And what was really, really interesting, I thought they might want to ask me, how can the church in the West help them, etc., etc. You know what the big question that they had for me was? What's King Charles like? Were you at Queen Elizabeth's funeral? Do you know what that said to me? That said to me that they have not disconnected, because I had arrived just a few days after the funeral of Queen Elizabeth. That says to me that they hadn't disconnected from the world. That was what they were interested in hearing from me. What they wanted to hear, what they wanted me to hear, was their suffering, but their joy at liberation. So that's the second thing. The strength and resilience of the people, especially when they know that they're not alone. Father Edward, like a true Slavic son of Saint Alphonsus, the founder of the Redemptorist Fathers, whose mission is to care for the most poor and abandoned of the world and spread the devotion to Our Lady of Perpetual Help. I can't imagine a better example. We'll talk about him in front of his back rather than behind his back. An example of that heroism, of that sacrifice, of taking families of seafarers into his place and showing them love and compassion, showing them respect for human life, something that is not happening today in Ukraine. War is war, I get that. But the atrocities that are being committed against Ukrainian people, even as we speak, again, is horrific. So my third and last comment has to do with the future. I would like to say that the war will stop tomorrow. I'm not sure what that means or what that's going to look like. But certainly those people that we are dealing with in Stella Maris, they will be wounded, even if they have not experienced the horrors of those towns, but they will be wounded. And it will require all of us working together to heal and help heal those wounds of that society, of the seafarers and fishers, the families of the seafarers and fishers who have been affected, who've lost family members. We recently held a meeting of all of the Ukrainian Catholic bishops from Ukraine and throughout the world in Przemysl, just in Poland, outside of the border. And I was speaking with one of the bishops from Eastern Ukraine, and I said to him, "How are you feeling being here in Poland? We didn't hear any sirens announcing bombs approaching." And he said, "You know, Father will know we were in the seminary in Przemysl, beautiful, beautiful building, wonderful location." And he said, "It's terrifying for me to be here." And I said, "Why is that?" And he said, "It's so silent." And for me, he's from Eastern Ukraine, he said, silence is just the period between the time when you hear the planes overhead and the bombs falling. And in the morning, it was interesting, just by the seminary, they were doing some construction. And so about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you started hearing boom, boom. And I knew it was time to wake up and go to Mass. But this bishop said he would hear these sounds, and it was like a nightmare because he was in safe Poland, but those sounds brought him back to where he was living. And so you all know about post-traumatic stress syndrome and the challenges that we'll have. And so even when peace comes, when people hear silence, it might be devastating noise for them. I want to thank everybody here in Stella Maris for all of the wonderful work that you do throughout the world. Thank you, Father Bruno, and all of those who have organized everything. May God bless you. May God continue to bless the good work that you do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Kenneth. So our benefactor, Father Bruno, has granted me extra time. So please, can I ask you, Father Alex and Father Edward, to come up here? And I don't know if it's possible for Rustic to join us as well, because then we have a little time for questions. And I know Anne, do you want to kick off while the rest just have a think about what they want to ask about? There's a microphone coming here.
It's not a very bright question, but I just wanted to, I assume that when you set up your system for the psychological help of Ukrainian seafarers, you will put it online so we can use it, because we can relay it in our Seamen's clubs, on our Facebooks, etc. And that's all.
Thank you. So there's a question down here in the back. Please, would you introduce yourself? Because I'm sorry, but I don't know all your names.
Sure, thank you. My name's Paul. I'm from Stella Maris, UK, some of the northeast ports. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to Father Alex and Rustic for the amazing, I'm going to get emotional, so sorry. Thank you for the amazing work that you both do. And I've just realized, Rustic, I met you back in 2012 in Rome. I was thinking this morning, I met this Ukrainian guy. I wonder if it's Rustic, and it's you, Rustic. We had a brief chat in Rome back, I think it was 2012. Would that be right, Mon? The World Congress in Rome. So thank you from all of us. You have our love and our prayers every day. And just if I could just ask you, what's the current situation in the port of Odessa? Is the shipping moving now?
Now, Odessa, not only Odessa, Yuzhny and Chernomorsk, partly activity, especially for this wheat grain agreement from United Nations, but only partly. But I repeat, it's a very strange situation. Port partly activity, but every time bombing, under bombing.
Thank you. Another question? There's one from Father in the corner.
Again, I am Father Paulo from Manila. Thank you guys there. It's unbelievable what you are doing. More than a question is something like this. During the pandemic, I think all of us lived in our houses with whatever we could do. If I may say, we lived with 120 seafarers for 90 days. The door was locked. What worries me is this. Who takes care of our mental health? Who cares for the carer? So I'm happy to hear, fathers, that you are thanking us for the text message, for the email, and I am very in line with what you're saying, because in those days we also received a lot of support. So perhaps for us here as Stella Maris, we have to look into that idea. We take care of others. That is my mission. That is our mission. But the question to me is this. One of the questions, please. Who takes care of us? As a network, as a Stella Maris that delivers services to seafarers, to fishers, their families. You have been beyond that, our mandate. That is beautiful. Happy to see that. But I guess we have to look into us. Sooner or later, I feel it, we are human beings. We also break. We also have problems. So can we think of something that is applicable to us, Stella Maris, chaplains, volunteers, workers? If I am wrong, I withdraw my motion.
You are not wrong. But who wants to answer this question?
We are celebrating 100 years of our Stella Maris. When we take past, if we look on the time when we remember our past with gratitude. So was wonderful solidarity among us. One center help other center. So we've been together. We are here, of course, because seafarers and seamen, fishermen, but we are here because we create wonderful networking. We help each other, even giving a car or something, social goods, and organizing conference with how to build community, how to provide spiritual aspect it is from. So, how to help how to help. Of course, now is war, is special needs, but we are not in the war. It is completely different, but we need also help. You are right, yes. Thank you for this question. But we are creating networking. So in many centers help each other. So we survive, we are here. So let us try to look forward in the future with confidence. But we survive because probably survive because we have spiritual, we take into account spiritual aspect as our foundation is most important. And if we have a strong spirituality, we are strong in social aspect as well.
Yes?
Yes, hello, my name is Anne and I'm from the ports in the southwest of England. And in our port we get quite a lot of vessels with Russian and Ukrainian crew on board. And I've actually been on board those vessels, and I must say the working relationship between the men have been amazing, and they have actually, I've had some Russian captains who have actually sort of gone out of the way to help ask me to provide clothes and things like that for the crew that are going back to the Ukraine. And I hear them say that when we're on the vessel, we try and leave politics behind and we try and live as a family. I don't know whether anyone else has actually had that experience as well.
Thank you for that beautiful comment. Is this what you're experiencing in the port of Odessa as well?
You know, in our port now, we haven't Russian seafarers. We haven't Ukrainian seafarers in our port, because for these ships with grain, 90% Turkish or Pakistani or Indian seafarers. Maybe, you know, due to martial law for men from 18 to 16, it's impossible to leave country, and it's next huge problem for our country, for our seafarers. But in start of war, we had a situation with Russian seafarers. These seafarers afraid to evacuate evacuation, and border control asked me to talk about this with these Russian seafarers. In Odessa, in Odessa, main problem with Russian seafarers is afraid war, because all of us afraid war, but Russian seafarers in Ukraine afraid. And we supported him for evacuation. Thank you.
Yes?
Yeah, thanks very much for that presentation. Quite impressed with all the work that you are doing in Ukraine under very difficult circumstances. I wonder whether you have had to deal with the seafarers who are attending academies in Ukraine, and after the war, they had to.
In Kherson, we had from Nigeria some students,
yes,
some cadets. Yeah.
Because I was conducted by charity in Germany, who are hosting some African seafarers from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Congo, and they had crossed the border to Germany, but they had no documents. All the documents they had were left at the academies. So I was able to organize an online conference, and then finally link them up with IMO, and link them up with the Maritime Administration in their countries for them to be repatriated back. But I just wanted your experience with dealing with the seafarers who are cadets in the academies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe Rostik explain this situation because I don't remember. Rostik, only Nigerian or something?
Can you please repeat question because it's not very clear sound to me. That's why I'm partly understanding question.
We support Nigerian cadets who in Kherson Academy, don't remember the name.
Okay, I will just say some words that seafarers, Nigerian cadets from Kherson Maritime University contacted us and asked for support. So we provided for them humanitarian aid and assisted in getting financial assistance. So this is few words what is being done also for Nigerian cadets which are from Kherson Maritime University. So actually we stay in online, if I may say. Seafarers from Ukraine and not only from Ukraine can contact us and we try to do our best. So we are always ready to help in all our possible ways. That is.
Thank you. Any? Yeah.
So my name is Father Paul. I'm chaplain in South Korea, Incheon Port. And I remember this year in May, I visited Incheon Port and we are able to get on the vessel. And Ukraine seafarers was there. And we visited there and prayed. And Ukraine seafarers showed us a video. And they explained their family in Mariupol, the bombing there, it was terrible. And they teared, so we embraced them and prayed for them. And we just let them know, Korean, South Korean people, we are stick together, we pray, and which is the best way, just let us know we can support, because South Korea, and still during the war, North and South, still big tense there, and we know trauma after war, how deep, and generation after generation, it's terrible. So, one thing from the presentation, I seen young child, 5 years old, spinal bones problem. So how could we support financially, or which is the best way? Also, South Korean Bishops' Conference seeking how to support Ukraine from Caritas or Stella Maris or many organizations. So can you suggest us which way is the best way to support directly the people? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think probably the best ways that you can support is through organizations that are already on the ground in Ukraine, that are working, that are recognized as good organizations. Certainly, you know, unbiased, and I would say through the Caritas network is probably one of the best ways that you're able to help people directly in Ukraine. Caritas has its locations throughout Ukraine, and of course they would be working closely with Stella Maris and whatever they can do. So for me, as a Catholic organization, you can be assured, and everybody knows the reputation of Caritas. So I think direct help in that way, especially if the donors have a specific niche that they say, please use these funds towards this. I think that, and I know that Caritas Ukraine would be able to assist in that way. So for me, you know, again, the most direct and easy way to send assistance would be through the Caritas networks.
Thank you for your witness of our shared humanity. Thank you so much.
Can I just respond as well? Father Paul, we're happy to talk to you as well because Father Bruno, Martin, and I and others in my team are us coordinating the sort of Stella Maris funding for the Ukraine work, but also Father Ed's work in Poland and all the stuff we're doing across Europe. So if you guys do have some leads on where we could get funding from South Korea towards that, we're coordinating all the funding centrally. So maybe I can talk to you in the break about that. That's okay?
Okay. Any final comments or thoughts you want to share with our panel? Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm Antonia from Salerno, and on the 8th of March I visited a German vessel with 15 more or less Ukrainian. It's open. And when I went on board, there were some of them that they were leaving to Ukrainian, to go there and because they wanted to combat in Ukraine. Some of them decided to stay on board. And these I followed during the time also because their families came to Salerno, a couple of them. And now they are in the situation that they cannot go back to Ukraine, and because or they work or they go back and then they cannot work anymore. So there is also this conflict for people that is very hard to solve. And perhaps after the war, we hope it will finish soon, but it will continue because there is the possibility that seafarers that decided not to go back to Ukraine, they will be banned because they decided to work and not to go back. And also this is something that we have to consider at the end and help to solve this situation.
I think that is a very good observation. I think seafarers and other people who have been caught in the West who either can't or don't want to go back to Ukraine will find themselves in very difficult positions. And I think that the countries that they find themselves in, hopefully the governments will assist in finding solutions and working with, especially I would say, shipping companies, that there would be a way out of this for them. Yes, I mean, last week it was recorded on the Ukrainian-Polish borders that there were more people re-entering Ukraine than departing Ukraine, and that's a good sign. But there are many people that cannot go back to Ukraine because their homes are occupied or they don't have any homes to go back to. And so they will find themselves in the situation that you've described, and that will be probably something that Stella Maris and other organizations will have to be addressing as to what happens to these people. How can we help them? Thank you.
Thank you. And on that note, I think I want to say thank you very much to the panel, especially, I don't know if Rustic is still with us, but it's so difficult with technology, and he fought a brave battle. So thank you, Rustic, for being here with us, and thank you to all of you. And I think I speak on behalf of everyone when I say that you can definitely count on our prayers. So thank you very much. So